coalesce function. Coalesce evaluates values from left to right. The mechanism is first valid selection. The outcome is that Terraform stops at the first value that is not null and not an empty string. This makes coalesce useful when an input may be missing, blank, or intentionally unset. The function does not merge values. It selects one final value from a list of candidates. Coalesce treats null and empty strings as unusable string inputs. The mechanism is value rejection before selection. The outcome is that a later fallback can replace both an absent value and a blank value. This matters because many variables fail in practice as blank strings, not only as null. A beginner often guards only against null and forgets that an empty string can still break naming logic or parameter content. All arguments passed to coalesce must resolve to a compatible type. The mechanism is type resolution before Terraform can finalize the expression result. The outcome is that Terraform can predict the shape of the value before sending it into a resource argument. If the arguments are mixed, Terraform may convert them to a more general type. That conversion can silently turn numbers or booleans into strings. If the arguments cannot be converted into a common type, validation fails. Coalesce decides what value an argument receives. The mechanism is argument fallback, not graph pruning. The outcome is that the resource still exists in the plan as long as the resource block exists. This is different from count or for each, which decide whether instances exist at all. A beginner can misuse coalesce when they actually need conditional creation. That causes Terraform to create a valid resource with a fallback value instead of skipping the resource. A fallback preserves a valid plan. The mechanism is substitution instead of failure. The outcome is that Terraform continues even when the input is invalid. This can hide configuration errors in pipelines or shared modules. On a submarine, conflicting sensor readings trigger investigation because disagreement indicates risk. There is no automatic selection of a safe value. Coalesce does the opposite. It normalizes bad input into an acceptable value without raising a signal. Use it only when the default is operationally correct. If the input must be validated, allow the failure instead of masking it. Coalesce accepts individual arguments, not a single list container. The mechanism is argument expansion with the splat operator. The outcome is that Terraform can treat each list element as its own fallback candidate. This matters when defaults are assembled dynamically in locals or modules. Without expansion, Terraform sees one list value instead of multiple candidate values.